How's it going, ladies and Brucers? I'm Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Exit Corners. I thought we were going to be done in the last episode, being, the chapter called Finale, but we have the epilogue to do still. I don't know how long this is or whether it can change either. We didn't really pick a path. There were a lot of dialogue choices, but I'm not sure if that changed how everything played out, because there's not really any full flow chart, like it flows from chapter to chapter. So I'm assuming the ending is always the same, potentially. Let me know if I'm wrong, if there's something I missed. Something I need to go over again to get the true ending or the good ending or whatever. But let's jump into the epilogue, shall we? And see what happens, because at the moment we are just falling through nothingness in cyberspace with Sean, the twat. It's spring, technically. Sure doesn't feel like it though. You can feel the cold seeping in from outside. I've been pacing around in here for what feels like forever. I know it's not the same room as before, but it still stirs up bad memories, especially considering, here who was mere feet away. Upon reflection, I probably should have asked to wait elsewhere. Oh well, might as well just stick it out at this point. They said I was free to leave, and though I'm kind of dying to get out of here, I'll never forgive myself if I passed up this opportunity. This might be my only chance to meet with them. So now I'm stuck waiting for... Hey. Ah, there you are. I was starting to worry. My bad. I had more questions than I realised. How's the arm? I don't know. They've never seen anything like it before. It's not dead, and apparently there's nothing wrong with it on paper, but I can't move it. Can you feel anything at least? It's faint, but... yeah, a little. That alone has them optimistic, but again, whatever condition I have is a product of corners. No one knows anything about it. I may be stuck like this for the rest of my life. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, Ray. It's what it is. Anyway, it's your turn, Ink. Finally, where's his office again? Stairs at the end of the hall. He's on the floor above us. Thanks, off I go then. We're very casual about this. The trip is a short one, though this apparently used to be part of the university. The building's on the smaller side. Most of the rooms here appear to be empty, though the odd office is stuffed with computer parts or medical equipment. Doesn't seem like this place has a lot of use. I spot him through a doorway after climbing the stairs. He waves me in. Nolan Thatcher. Welcome, Ink. Forgive the mess, please. Have a seat. It's good to finally chat with you one-on-one, Nolan. Or should I say Earl? Just as you've changed your name, so have I. Nolan is my name now. Please address me as such. Fine, Nolan it is. Still hard to believe that we've been at Bellbridge U this entire time. We aren't on campus, strictly speaking. I annexed this building a number of years ago in exchange for some property downtown. It belongs entirely to me, though few people are aware of this. Makes me wonder what else you're hiding. That's why you're here, though, isn't it? Smartass. I have quite a lot to attend to today, but I've blocked out what I hope is enough time to answer your most pressing questions. I'll answer everything as honestly as I can. I owe you that much. Good, let's get right to it then. Indeed. First off, I'd like to offer an apology for, well, everything. An apology? Are you serious? Your mother is dead. You think an apology is going to fix things? Of course not. There's no fixing what happened. Not completely. I will, however, take the steps necessary to right the wrongs I've made to the best of my ability. And it all starts with an apology. I think you should go directly to fucking hell. And that would be a good start to righting the wrongs. Sorry. I'll calm down. You can thank my mother for helping me come to my senses. Though I managed to secure the capital I sought, I cannot but feel that this project was an abject failure. So they gave you the funding in the end, this, sponsor. Yes, though we ended up altering the deal quite significantly. Our sponsor purchased Corners outright. All of the tech, research, documentation, and now belongs entirely to them. What are they intending to do with it? I don't know. Probably for the best. I'm more than happy to wash my hands of Corners. It brought out the worst in me. Yeah, no shit. I don't understand how you could let things get as bad as they did. I made some poor decisions in the heat of the moment. Sean had designed Exit Corners with some contingencies in mind, but the contestants had veered so far off course that I had to make some tough calls partway through to set things right again. More than anything, I didn't want to fail after having come so far. I couldn't risk the sponsor walking away. I'd sacrificed so much. And so you sacrificed your mother instead? Sean deceived me into believing it was the right decision. My mother wasn't originally supposed to die. But you knew it was a possibility. Sean suggested as much. While Sean's choice of words was suspect at best. Yes. I knowingly wagered all of your lives and I'm deeply sorry for it. Oh, well, that's alright then. Fuck you, dude. How many of us were supposed to live according to your original plan? Hey, you said you'd be honest with us. I know. Only one of you was slated to die. Ray. Ray? This corner was the only one that was truly fatal. But why? He's an arsonist, and he came very close to hurting my daughter. That's no reason to murder someone. Murder's worse than arson, in case that wasn't clear to you. I'm not saying it's right, but that was our rationale at the time. So let me get this right. There was no situation where everyone would live. You intended to murder someone from the get-go. That's correct. Does Ray know this? I was able to dodge that question, thankfully. I can't not tell him. You know that, right? And that's entirely within your rights. Please keep it in mind that telling him might cause more problems than it solves. He's right, but I don't understand how you can just justify murder like that. I just don't. We'd already consigned to kidnapping and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. I'd also been embezzling money from BBU for years. Not to mention I feigned my death and forged my current identity many years prior. It's horrifyingly easy to continue down a dark path once you've taken your first few steps. Getting away with crime only emboldens you to commit more. You grow numb to it after a time. I hope you never come to understand what that's like. Do you become numb to the damage you're causing to other people, though? Like, that's the fucked up part. It's not the crime, it's the damage you cause with the crime to other people. Seems like you've thought about this a lot. I've scarcely slept since Exit Corners started. I've had a lot of time to think. Do you think Sean and Tiana would feel the same way? That remains to be seen. I hate to ask, but those two are still in their pods or whatever, right? What's going to happen to them? I haven't decided yet. My number one priority was ensuring the safety of the contestants, which means putting my colleagues on hold for the time being. They're still sedated and not in any immediate danger. They'll be dealt with once the rest of you are safely at home. By dealt with, you don't mean... Of course not. I've got enough on my conscience as is. No, I'm not going to try and reason with them instead. I believe that Tiana will leave quietly at first. She could be bought off if nothing else. As for Sean, he's a more difficult case. I haven't quite decided how to approach him. But know this, your safety is priority number one. You'll never have to see him again. Good. That sort of reminds me, what was the point of our Gemini anyway? Like, why did you give them to us? This is the sort of thing that it'd be difficult to surmise if you hadn't seen the other's messages for yourself. Essentially, the messages were contacts sent to you over Gemini were intended to keep you in the right state of mind, so to speak. You were each being primed for your respective corners. For instance, Sean constantly brought up Ether, did he not? Now that I mention it, now that I think about it, yeah, he did seem pretty obsessed with her. Exactly, he was trying to get you to obsess over her in turn. The fact that we were people you trusted worked well to our advantage. We knew we would have to reveal our identities eventually, so there was no point in hiding who we were. That being said, we opted for a text-only communication in order to better conceal the fact that Sean and I were acting as contacts for two of you. I guess that makes sense. Seems a little convoluted though, and risky. You haven't the faintest idea. I'm not normally one to lead on the gambits quite so hard. I was wondering about that. There had to be an easier way to get the money you needed than some over-the-top death game, right? It seemed like there was a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong, and hey, they did. Under normal circumstances, you'd be absolutely right. Our sponsor, however, is anything but normal. This is not their first death game, as you so eloquently put it. They have a certain proclivity for such games, and we're in fact the ones to suggest it in the first place. Hold on, are you saying something like this has happened before? Correct. This sort of thing is not altogether uncommon among certain upper-class circles. That's where we met, all those years ago. It's also where we chose the Four Elements as our virtual setting. The original hotel is where that first game took place. Right here in Bellbridge? That's news to me. You've got to tell me more. Even if I could, we certainly don't have enough time to go over everything. Sorry, my voice just broke. Puberty and all that, you know. I know I said I'd be honest with you, and I intended to keep that promise, but that's a story for another time, I think. Damn, I won't be surprised if I come to ask you about it one day. If such an opportunity presents itself, then feel free. A warning though, it's not a happy story. Oh, shocker. In any case, our sponsor was the only person willing to invest in such flawed technology. The only one willing to give us the amount of money I thought Corners was worth. And so I agreed to their outlandish terms. You should have just walked away. I should have. But that would have meant giving up. I'd already spent years on this project. In fact, nearly all of my life as Nolan Thatcher had been spent working on Corners in one way or another. But a project like this, it sounds like way too much work for just 3 people to handle, even if you're all geniuses. Huh. It was a much simpler project at the start. These kinds of things always are. The moment I saw RN though, I knew that both technologies combined had the potential to become something revolutionary. I snapped up the algorithm and Tiana herself without a second thought. But you must know that Ray developed RN, not Tiana. So surely you wouldn't want him to die, you'd want to harness his intelligence. Of course, the scope ballooned out of control as a result and the project took much longer than I'd imagined. I really should have known better. It was too much work for 2 people, even if I did hire a few contractors for some of the intermediary tasks. 2 people? Not 3? Sean was only brought on when we needed to design an accompanying game. He had no involvement with the project before that. It still sounds like you were way understaffed. You aren't wrong. I was too deep into development to turn back and too stubborn to ask for more help. The project consumed me. It became my everything. Sounds like hell. Why would you do that to yourself? I told you already. Giving up was not an option. That's not what I mean. What I meant was... Why did you start this project in the first place? What's in it for you? Didn't you already have all the money you could want? That's the thing about rich people. They never have all the money they could want, because all the money they could want is more money than ever existed. Why pursue some risky golden goose technology? Ah, that. You'll think me naive, but sure, I'll tell you why I did it. I thought that if the technology had gotten advanced enough, it might allow for Liza to one day meet her mother. What? When Liza got caught up in that accident, her sight was not the only thing she lost. She could no longer recall a single thing about Marianne, her mother. What about the rest of her family? She couldn't remember anything about any of them, either. Perhaps that was a mercy. She wouldn't have to bear the pain of losing them. Still, I was so very upset, heartbroken, but I thought I could fix things. At first, I thought I could simply restore her sight, albeit in a limited context. And then RN came around. I quickly discovered that if Tiana and I integrated our technologies correctly, we could do the impossible. I believe that we could get the simulation to a point where Liza and I could enter together and she could meet Marianne, as I remembered her. And that's why I so badly wanted to create Corners. A cerebrally operated refractory node enhanced reality simulation. A world that runs on memories and assumptions, for better or for worse. Thank you for telling me, Nolan. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I think you went about this all wrong. I hope you don't mind me saying this. Why are you being so polite to this piece of shit? And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you can go fuck yourself with that chair behind your desk. Shove it right up your ass and then go directly to hell. I'm listening. You say you wanted to let her meet her mother, and that's fine, but... She had a grandmother who would be more than happy to support her, and relatives galore, so I was told. Most importantly, she had a father who loved her dearly, but likely spent far too long on his pet project. She had all the family she needed. Not everything's a complicated puzzle, you know. Sometimes the best answer is the simplest one. There was a time in my life where I'd have come to that conclusion myself. Time doesn't always change us for the better. Damn, I didn't expect Nolan to be so depressed. Do you have any more questions? Tons. You okay to keep going? I can always come back. I'm fine for now. Please, continue. This one's a little weird, but what's 379? That number kept popping up over the course of the game. What's its significance? Truth be told, I don't fully understand it myself. I have a few theories, but I've been awake for far too long, and I'll be honest with you, it hasn't been a huge priority. If I had to guess, I'm wondering if it's perhaps the Bader-Meinhof effect at work. Do you, expect me to know what that is? It's a form of cognitive bias, in which a new game, word, or number seems to show up disproportionately often after seeing it for the first time. In a world where cognition reigns supreme, I can only imagine how such a phenomenon might affect the world around you. It's possible the first time you saw the number, it left such an impression on you that the information suddenly kept popping up everywhere. Well, that's just one theory. It could be any number of things. Corners is still not a wholly understood technology, even by me. I see. So I read your book, skimmed it rather. You mean Advanced Neuroelectric Interfaces. I thought you picked it up in Corners, but never got a chance to read it. Not while in Corners, no, but you have a copy down in that room, with all the pods. I was waiting there for a while, you know. Ah, so what'd you think? It's far beyond me. I couldn't understand half of it, but one chapter in particular got me thinking. In shared interfaces, you theorize that it's possible to engineer a way to feed the same brainwaves into 2 different minds, so that it feels like they're experiencing roughly the same thing. Is that what was going on with your sponsor? I'm impressed you were able to piece that together. So the voice in my head was... Yes, it was our sponsor. Me? I'm the sponsor. I haven't got any money. They needed to be able to see, hear, and feel what you did to validate the authenticity of the simulation. They were hijacking your consciousness, so to speak, and could even tune into many of your thoughts. So they felt everything I did, even pain and stuff. They said they wanted to have an authentic experience. However, because of the more transient connection, they were able to come and go as they pleased. They weren't trapped in the simulation or anything of the sort. In fact, they sometimes hop off to ask me a few questions as the game progressed. Oh, so you weren't watching me in the same way then? No. I was merely watching a screen with low-resolution video and audio. Sent was also reporting in periodically. Okay, sure. Still, why was the sponsor allowed to speak to me? What possible reason could there have been for that? We chiefly wanted to make sure that we could prove that the simulation was happening in real time. By giving the sponsor some small measure of influence over you, we helped convince our guest that this game was happening in real time to real people, no scripts, no actors. Furthermore, our sponsor simply wanted to be able to interact with you in some way. They're quite fond of that sort of thing. Their request left me wary, so I tried to set it up in such a way that you'd only hear them on a subconscious level. Obviously, though, you were actively aware that they were trying to communicate with you. If I had to guess, it's likely because you began to desync from corners. Ah, well, that old thing messed me up pretty bad, so I hope it was worth it. I apologise. I should have tried to find another way to satisfy our guest, but I was tight on time. We had an aggressive deadline to meet, even if it was self-imposed. Self-imposed? It's practically the same thing as having no deadline at all. The reality is that we couldn't spend forever on it. The project was very important to me, but even I didn't want to spend my entire life working on something that may never take off. And there's only so long I could keep spinning my wheels before Tiana got bored and left. It was never going to be perfect. I just needed it to work. The hope was that we could get some more funding to expand its development. Corners really could not have come about any other way. It was exit corners or nothing at all. You know, I think nothing at all might have been just fine. No need to remind me. I think there is. I think we have adequate reason to remind you. What other questions do you have? So, I'm a little afraid to ask, but what happens to Ether? Ether, as you know, no longer exists. Her source code is still intact, but that instance of her has been erased from the system's memory. Then again, so long as she still exists in your memory, it may not be impossible to recover her in some fashion. That's not why I was asking. It's mostly just curious. And I know it's silly, but I wanted to make sure that she wasn't, you know, suffering or anything. I see. Well, it's a good thing you don't want to meet her, because I no longer have access to corners. Oh, you've already given it to the sponsor? Yes. At least the most important bits. The rest, including the documentation and physical equipment, to go along with it, are to be delivered within the next few weeks. I'll be very busy. And what about after all that? What will you do when this is all over? Hopefully go to jail. Well, first I was going to return the money I stole from the university with interest. I've been paid back many times over thanks to our sponsor. Following that, I was going to turn myself into the police. Oh good. What? For real? I won't be telling them about corners. That'd be hard to prove anyway. I'll admit to forging an identity, embezzling funds, and murdering my mother. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't think you should. I need to take responsibility for my actions. That's exactly it, though. You have a responsibility to make up for the harm that you've done, and I don't think you could do a very good job of that from prison. You're clearly capable of achieving amazing things if you put your mind to it. You've got the brains and the resources. Put them to good use. That's what your mother was trying to tell you. Not to throw yourself in a hole, but to lift others out of theirs. Frankly, jail's the easy way out. That's practically giving up. How pithy. I need to give this a bit more thought then. Good. Man, every time he closes his eyes, I worry he's about to topple over. Hey, Nolan? You okay? Sorry, I'm tired is all. Maybe we should stop here for now. You look like you need some rest. I have many loose ends to tie up before I can even think about resting. Still, you're right. I don't know if I can afford to continue this for much longer. Before you leave though, I'd like to end things on a positive note. How so? I want to ensure you understand that I'm committed to your safety and well-being. Firstly, while I may not have been able to answer all of your questions in the short period of time, I don't want to leave you waiting for more answers. As such, I'd like you to take this. He's handing me something from off his desk. Wait, is that a thumb drive? This portable drive contains a repository of Corner's development documentation, notes on the game, and chat logs between Sean, Tiana, and myself. I'm hoping whatever additional answers you seek can be found within. Thanks. I'll have a look. Secondly, I'll see to it that the remainder of your undergrad degree is paid for, and therapy, should you need it. Expect details shortly. Wait, what? I figure that's the least I could do is help you finish your English degree. Huh. Go figure. Is something the matter? I know I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth, but I was actually thinking about switching programs. English is fine and all, and I've always loved my books, but I never truly felt I was born to be a writer or a teacher, you know? I take it you found a new calling. Yeah, I'm thinking of becoming a detective. Go figure. That'll be no problem at all. I can pull some strings for you. I'd appreciate it. Oh, and Nolan? Get some sleep. Only after stepping back into the hallway do I realise how bright Nolan's office was. It's only been a few days, but I guess my body was craving sunlight. As much as I want to head outside right away, I've got one more stop to make. I head back to the room with the pods. Welcome back. Hey, sorry for taking so long. It's all good. I went out for a smoke partway through. Besides, I took pretty long myself. Thanks for agreeing to wait for me. Wow, I did want to go over what Nolan told us. It's not sitting right with me that he split us up like that, you know? Yeah, want to talk about it over some food? I haven't eaten in who knows how long. Sounds like a plan. I'm fucking starving. Let's get out of here. We climb the stairs and head down the hallway. I'm glad we caught the sun before it vanished over the horizon. The outside air is refreshing too, if a little cold. What are you going to do when this is all over? I don't know. I'm staying in school for sure, but I'm thinking about switching programs. Nolan offered to pay for the rest of my schooling. Same here, actually. Huh? Didn't you drop out? I did, but he said he could help me fast-track a degree for free. Or maybe do it part-time. You gonna take him up on that offer? I don't know, man. It's dirty money. Besides, does that not bother you? It does, but I don't know. For all we've been through, I think we've earned it. Maybe. I don't like that those guys are getting off scot-free, but I guess there's nothing I can do about that. I wouldn't say Nolan's getting off scot-free. I know. What bothers me is that he gets to, and as far as I know, Tiana gets to keep a squeaky clean reputation. I wish I could get back at them, you know? You're not serious, are you? I never act on it, but the urge is there. It's so hard to sit still and not do anything. I'm worried I'm going to be angry about this forever. Sure, you could mope about this for the rest of your life. Or you could live. Don't worry about other people. Just live for yourself. Live your best life. That's the biggest fuck you could give them. My best life, huh? I think my best life involves a big bowl of ramen. You know what? I can get behind that. Is that it? Is that it? Or is there more? Alright, well, whatever. We did it! We beat the game. We beat the game, and it had, you know, I'm not sure it's a happy ending, but it's a conclusive ending, if nothing else. I still realize I'm with Ray. We need to get back at those people, especially Sean, prick. Tiana was at least a dick the whole way through, so we could just be like, you know, she's an arsehole, so how surprising that she turned out to be an arsehole. But Sean, come on, okay, he was a bit scummy too, but still. And Nolan, to his own daughter, she could have died in that. She could have, his mother died in it, and his daughter could have died in it, and he did it anyway. What a twat. I don't think he should get off scot-free either, frankly. I think Ray's right. He should burn in fucking hell with both of them. Anyway, but that's my, you know, revenge node going off. That was a fucking fantastic game though. It was, oh man, it was just keep throwing new curveballs at you every chapter. It's insane. Wow. Good shit. And Ray quickly went from, like, at the start he was kind of a aloof arsehole with no empathy, and by the end he was like my favourite character. And then we ended with him right next to us, which was awesome. Wow. Great stuff. A game by Max Manco? Oh, there's a credits button here. Hang on. Full credits. There you go. Yeah, I'll do the credit roll for you in the screen. You ready? There you go. Credits. Very cool. Well, that's it. If I missed anything that's important, make sure to let me know what it is. If I didn't get the true ending, make sure you let me know that too and how to do it. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.